you're here. It's about
Now can I ask all of us to join together for 1 minute silence in memory of all the animals who have suffered at the hands of our live export industry. So a minute silence, please.
Along with all the horrific images that we saw there, the one that sticks in my mind is towards the end where the little black cow, I'm not sure if it was a cow or a male steer, standing there, I think you'd all remember, and had watched his colleagues, his friends, his 6 other cows being slaughtered in front of him. And I can never forget the image out of my mind of him standing there shivering with obvious fear and distress, because he obviously knew what was happening to him next. And as hard as that was to watch, I think it was very good of Sarah and Lynn to have captured that and to have put it on the TV so people can see that animals do know what's going on and they do suffer. And that image, as bad as it was and hard for everyone to watch, it really put across that this is an export trade inflicts daily suffering and cruelty on animals that are involved in it. So I'm saying that the trade in live animals is inherently, fundamentally wrong, it's cruel, and it's got to stop. I'm standing here as a member of the Greens. I'm just 6 months into my second term. In my inaugural speech, I pledged to the people of Victoria that I would make animal welfare one of the things that I would dedicate my time in Parliament to. During the duck shooting debate on Wednesday, a couple of members said that I shouldn't be so emotional about it, but I should just be rational about it. And I was emotional during the speech, and I had to take a couple of breaks when I was describing what happens to ducks. And to be able to describe what happens to animals when they're stuffed on transport trucks and when they're stuffed on ships and they die from disease, they get crushed, they can't eat, they can't drink. How can you not get emotional about it? So thank you all for coming today. I'll work until live exports are finished. It may surprise you to know that each year on Earth we breed 64 billion animals for meat, milk and eggs. These numbers are frightening and driving our planet to environmental and climate catastrophe. Livestock now outweigh wildlife by 8 to 1. Within the last 50 to 60 years, global livestock population has increased by 5 to 6 times, while within that time human population has only doubled. Livestock is responsible for over 2/3 of the world's destruction of forests. Livestock eat 40% of the world's grain. We could easily feed the starving people of the world with that grain. We have created a ravenous, waste-producing, forest-destroying giant. The average Australian eats 2,000 animals in their lifetime. Each year we breed 25 animals for every one of us. Live exports must be banned, but the idea to instead slaughter the animals here, freeze their bodies or body parts, then send them over, is that really the answer? Number one, Number one, all types of slaughter, whether here or in Indonesia, are inhumane. It's just that the public hasn't seen the graphic footage of what happens in the slaughterhouses here yet. Number two, slaughtering them here and freezing them uses more resources, produces more greenhouse gases as well. Regarding jobs, there are alternatives. Rather than the government subsidising an industry that inherently causes suffering to animals, those funds can be used to assist affected communities to transition to cruelty-free and green jobs. The more people moving to a plant-based or even vegan diet means a reduction in livestock numbers, means more land is freed up for reforestation, which is a natural way to draw down carbon dioxide that is already in the air, and it means we're living more compassionate lifestyles. If you're really shocked by the cruelty that you saw on TV, I mean, think of what happens in the slaughterhouses here. The power is in our hands, it's within us. We can stop the cruelty.
It's really not surprising that since that fateful night on the 31st of May, when many of us in this country watched the awful footage on Four Corners of those poor animals being tortured to death, many of us, if not all of us, lost sleep that night. And I can honestly say it took me a week to try and sleep properly after watching that footage. It is also not surprising at all that immediately the PR damage control wheel started spinning out of control for Life Corp, Meat and Livestock Australia and the Australian government. If you've been on the Meat and Livestock Australia website lately, it's all for animal welfare apparently. Let me read the latest line. MLA has a team of experts, no less, God bless them, working with the Indonesian cattle importers to further improve welfare standards at the 25 best facilities in Indonesia. We're now hearing really fancy technical terms about standard operating procedures and improving infrastructure and developing a thorough chain traceability system. But see, here's the thing. We're not exporting tables and chairs. We're not rolling out a national broadband service, and we're sure as hell not trying to train up an international call centre. We're talking about sentient beings who, just like us, bleed, feel fear and pain, and have the capacity to suffer just like us. I'm sorry, I'm really angry about this, just like everyone else. And Sue Pedicure hit it on the head. This is not about being emotional versus being irrational. This is about being a true Australian and standing up for justice. There are only, if you believe the spin that's coming out of Meat and Livestock Australia, and if you believe the spin that's coming out of some members of government, and if you believe the spin that's coming out of Life Corp, if you believe it, then you're one of two things. You're either really stupid, or you are profit-driven at the complete expense of animal welfare. There's nothing in between. You're either there or you're there. There's nothing in between that. So, I'm not going to crap on about, the arguments that are being put in place by government and the pros and the cons and all the ways they're cutting this issue. There's only one solution, guys. It's just got to stop. It's just got to stop. Here's another thing. Slaughtering animals without first pre-stunning them is illegal in this country. It's illegal. It can't happen. If you do that on our shore, in our country, you will be prosecuted for animal cruelty. But somewhere along the lines, it became okay to look the other way, push these animals onto ships and send them over to a country that has no animal welfare standards, no protection and no enforceability. So how the hell are we going to sit back and listen to a government that says that they're going to roll out standard operating crop procedures to a country that doesn't have laws that they can enforce in terms of animal welfare? It's just not going to happen. We are culturally different. They don't care, we do. That's the difference. So Adam Bandt, the Federal Minister for Melbourne, is introducing a bill on Monday to ban live exports, and I strongly urge our members of government to please ban live exports, not for 6 months, forever, and take this black mark off our history. I was going to quote Lord Wilberforce, but I think you get the gist. But honestly, this is on par with slavery. This is on par with the end of slavery. And Tuesday, the 31st of May, as hard as it was for all of us, needs to go down in the history books for centuries to come alongside slavery as the day that this country banned live exports. Is ban live exports and no more goddamn excuses.
Is it a kind of dream floating out on the tide, following the river up deep downstream, or is it a dream? How can the light that burns so brightly suddenly burn so pale?
As I look around, I see tears. I see people crying. I see people wiping the tears off. I see people sobbing. Your tears are not in vain. Your tears are for all the animals that have suffered and are still suffering at the hands of our live export trade. So we're all here for a reason. Please, on a parting note, I'd like to say, please, keep up the fight. Contact as many federal and state MPs as you can and tell them to put this barbaric trade to an end right now. Each and every one of you has made it possible. So on behalf of all the speakers, on behalf of all the animals who are suffering at the hands of live export, I'd like to say thank you to each and every one of you for making the effort and coming here. Thank you.